Okay. Hi, Rapierman. It is Neo here. I've watched most of your VOD. I've watched about like the first two rounds already, so we're gonna go over all of it. And there's gonna be a lot of like tiny stuff that I cover when I go through the VOD, because I like to cover a lot of micro things and hear specific things. But I think I want to give you some like notes that'll help write out the bat, and then you can like apply the micro things later. So I want us to kind of work on this macro aspect of Diva in particular, and then we can go and talk about more of the micro stuff in the VOD itself. So I kind of suggest taking notes because there is a hierarchy of like, oh, I could tell you to position here, but I think target focus and effective range will help you rank up more than it would like, I think you'd be better playing here and then here. I think that having an understanding of kind of like why we're playing in those positions, it will help a little bit on like I could tell you specifically where to play in Shambali. Like flat out. I could be like here, 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 and here. But that won't help you as much as like what are you gonna do the next map when it's not Shambali. So I want us to specifically take a second to talk about effective range because I think I really want you to shift your understanding of Diva to be a melee hero. Because the truth is, because we're building shotguns, our effective range is basically melee range. So we're 10 meters away from this bot. 10 meters, 5 meters. This is 0. So 0, 5, 10. We're 10 meters away. I'm with my crosshair right on his head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shots. Okay? That's just from 10 meters away. So now if we're 5 meters away, we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shots. So instantly the amount of damage we're outputting just being within 5 meters closer is very immense. And that even goes further to if we boost, we do damage as we boost past them, and we displace them, which makes it harder for them to land their shots, and it makes it harder for their healers to heal them. So I want us to get kind of used to, I'm going to make sure I don't put this guy off the map, displacing while shooting, and then we're right in somebody's face, and then they're dead. But I want us to boost all the way into their face, cancel it, and then kill them. Okay? Just like that. So I think trying to shift our idea of Diva into a melee hero will make us play in more of our effective range. The more we're at this range, just the harder it is for us to do effective damage that's not just going to get like healed up by a Mercy the whole time we're doing it. It's much harder for her to heal this at this range, especially if you're boosting and rocketing. I'd boost all the way into him, but it would goop him off the map. So, so yes, I think that's the major thing, is I want you constantly trying to put yourself in a melee range. You get a target, and then you can just back up. Or if we didn't boost in, which honestly we should boost in, because it gives us some damage, and there's a lot of times we need to be on high ground and stuff like that. And then we can just bail.
You need aim training.
So I want us to put us in positions where we can kind of like collapse and then back up. So let us actually look at this VOD. I'm trying to remember if there was a second thing I specifically wanted to mention, but I can't recall it off the top of my head, and if it comes up, it comes up. So I think it was just initially talking about, I want to make sure that you don't always use your boosters all the way till the end. You can sometimes cancel it earlier, but I want to make sure we're actually at the right spot when we end them, because sometimes I feel like we will go in and then we don't cancel it and then we start going out and then we're already out of this effective range. So because this is a lower rank, we can kind of exploit this fact by playing even more greedily, because it's going to be hard for them to focus you down because you're the tank. The biggest thing is, though, we have to make sure we're actually going to get healed. So even in this position, if I was playing at this rank, I would play all the way right here. I would play here. I would start here. I would see if we could get any immediate push out as much damage as possible to someone as they pass by. And then after I feel like I've taken too much damage, I've hit about half health, I would fly all the way to back here. That's how I would play this. At a higher elo, I'd probably start up here and do kind of the same thing, wait for them to push closer, and then it's like we're this predator who's just waiting to collapse on somebody and go back. So in particular, I know you calm a lot, but it's kind of a mix of I want to make sure we are prioritizing the right target because the best thing Diva can do is capitalize on when people make mistakes. So the real trick is identifying when has somebody made a mistake, because that's when we are at our prime. If we see the Brigitte bash in, that's a prime target for us. If we see Tracer recall, that's free. If we see the Life Weaver at all, if he's in our close range at all, that's a very nice target for us. If we've seen Arissa's use both of her cooldowns, that's a good target for us. So it's like kind of when we see those prime opportunities, then we can pounce. It's not necessarily every single cooldown in the game. I've just like looked at the enemy team and kind of been like, oh, okay, this is when they're most vulnerable. When they've used these resources in particular, they are now vulnerable. But it's like, oh well, soldier. Soldier is going to be very hard for us to to like find this prime moment because he always has his movement ability. Um, yes, he's a little bit easier to kill when he's used his heal pad, and he doesn't have that. It's much easier for us to do it. But it's not like, oh, if we see Helix, it's now time to kill him. That's not it. It's we need to, if he has put himself in a very greedy position, we can try and kill him, kind of thing. It's just when that's really what we're trying to identify is this person's made a mistake. I can capitalize at it as a high damage output, high mobility tank. So that's where I would play initially, is all the way that first corner. If not, I might also play this corner right here. So it's either there, or here, because this is just too far for us to actually get damage in. And if we're already there, then we can make sure we can use our boosters to get out instead of in. Or you can kind of do a mix of both. You can use your boosters to do some damage to people as you're shooting, and then back out. So in terms of positioning, even with this, I don't love this high ground, so I'm fine that we fell down. But that's why I'm like, oh, if we were in this position, this greater position, somebody could come and do a bunch of damage to us as we're trying to get there when we had the whole round to kind of set up to be there. And now we've used kind of half of our DM trying to get into about the place I wanted to start with anyway. We hear a Tracer off to the right. Very good. This is all fine. I just want to... So, the thing I don't necessarily like is I feel like we're not utilizing the natural cover here. So there's a lot of cover over to our left, and there's some cover over to our right. I dislike the right side a little bit more because in order for us to, like, escape, if we get pushed too hard, our support isn't over here, they're over here, and Moira outputs a ton of healing, so if we get too much damage to us, we know we can go over here and get a lot of healing. But if we're playing this natural cover, we're not going to get healed as easily as if we were playing right over here. Because then we'll get pushed in this way, and then she can't see us, and then our out is this way, and then while we're going over... While we're going... Let's say we did go into this room, and then we pushed out this way, and then over here, they're going to get free damage on us while we have to push out this way again. So I just want us hugging this right side a little bit more, if this is where we're going to play, and then doing the exact same thing you're doing, just from over here, and then instead of having to DM, we can just go back behind this wall, and then come back out again. And then not only that, when the cart pushes up to this distance, we'll be contesting it. So a lot of this is, as a tank player, when you are on defense, you get to choose where fights engage. So that's very, very powerful. Of I want the fight to be right here because I have this cover, they don't have it. It's a much harder angle for them. If my team is on the high ground, it's much better for us. Our Ana can heal us from right here. Our Moira can heal us from right here. Our soldier should honestly be where our Ana is, but he's not. And this is just a very good angle for us. The thing that the attacking side gets to choose is when. They get to choose when they get to engage. They're a little bit forced into us with the cart going into this path, which is why I kind of like it. Because the cart gives us some natural cover, but we are also contesting it, and they have no choice but to engage into us at this position. They can choose to back up, to regroup, to build ults, they can do all these things, but this is our spot, and we are not going to let them take this corner from us. Yeah, and then every time you use DM here, I want you to think about just playing on the left and then using that cover. Our mermaid's kind of bailed, but our Ana's still healing us, so I'm not too worried. Our Ana got pressured right there. So I saw our Moira go past us, which means we're no longer going to get healed by her, and I see this Tracer start to go to our Ana. Now, peeling is less good in Overwatch 2 as it is in Overwatch 1, but we're now down our Genji. I don't want us to lose our Ana, and we, at close range, at literally this range that we're at now, we can do a lot of damage to this Tracer, enough to at least force recall. So when we see something go for our backline, because we had a visual cue of our Ana a second ago, right uh, right here, we see our Ana. Because we know our Ana is no longer on this high ground, it's much easier for them to kind of collapse on her. So when I see the Tracer go for our Ana, I want us to go and immediately target her. This is a mistake. It's like this Tracer went to the right. I still want us pushing this Tracer. So our Ana is still alive, even though we have lost 2. I kind of want us to keep fighting in this position and just lose the fight. I want us to build ult to make sure we lose the fight because they have a lot of people who can just kind of collapse on us, and we're not the support, we are the tank. So we want to make sure that it's okay for us to die every team fight, which I know sounds very like counterintuitive, but if we are taking pressure here, then our Ana can maybe survive, and it's less likely she's going to survive because the Tracer is here. So I don't hate this disengage. The thing I dislike is that our team is still kind of in, so we can either try and help them get out, which would be probably a little bit better, or we can just choose to fully commit here and stall the payload while we're doing it. Because our Ana is still alive here too. Yeah. I like that you're giving her ult charge. This is good. Just boost into her. Remember, your boost does damage and it displaces them, and it can be very disorienting for them and whoever's healing them, so just boost into them and try and get these headshots in. If we're at close range, even body shots will do a ton, and if you're against Brig in particular, if you boost in, you can get in between her and her shield, and you almost broke it too, so will even be doing more damage to her shield if we boost into her right here. Don't be afraid to commit. If you see a clean kill, and this is a clean kill, commit all your cooldowns to it. Literally all of them. The only thing that won't help you is DM here. Are your Ana's still below you, I think? Yeah. So here again, we're the defense. We get to choose where the fight engaged. I kind of want us to engage closer, because we're again at like this 10 to 15 meter range where we just have a lot of damage fall off, and now we have no DM. So if we're playing a little bit closer to this corner, the soldier will get a lot of damage onto us, but we have 2 of the strongest healers in the game in terms of healing output, and we can stall this cart, and we can use this cart and this wall as cover. So I just want us thinking like a melee. Nice eat. Very good job. Just boost into them. And then as we boost into them, when we get disengaged, we have, if you look, they're all 5 right here. If we just spam our shots right down here, even if you're not necessarily aiming at a particular person, if you're just making sure it's on this right side of the cart, we'll build a lot of charge back to our mech. Yeah, so even here, just kind of stand your ground. Baby D.Va doesn't do it a lot, so we just have to try and get our mech back. Don't be afraid to reload in downtimes. Yeah. So we could probably be like 70, 80 to mech right now. And then we could also, because we are Baby D.Va, especially at this corner, we can kind of capitalize on the fact that we are a very, very small model in the game, and we can just play around this cart very strongly, and then we can maybe try and get some shots into the Orisa. We don't necessarily need to do that, but if we just try, we can probably actually do quite a bit of stalling as Baby D.Va if we just like run around this cart a bit. And then while crouching is important with that because it makes you even smaller. So our team needs to regroup. We're close to Nano Visor, which will be good. I know Nano Blade seems a little bit probably better, but I don't love that our soldiers just did that. Just say, I would consider... Honestly, he's kind of a lost cause, but you could maybe DM some shots from this range from the Orisa, just standing up here and DMing downwards, just so it won't hit the soldier. I like that we noticed the Tracer. Yeah, just boost into her. Every time you notice a mistake, boost into them. And then there, when we get stuck, it's fine that we got stuck. We're a tank. We're gonna live. Just make sure we boost away from our supports, because we damage our Ana a bit because we're so close. I honestly want us using our boosters a lot more. Just kind of use them more frivolously. I really like what you're doing. I want you to go back up. Brilliant. I just want us boosting into a target when we use micro missiles as well. Don't be afraid to just spam all your cooldowns at once in terms of like boosters, micro missiles onto a target. Beautiful. I like that. I would have just shot them. So in terms of using Diva Bomb, I think you know in retrospect this wasn't needed, but it's hard to know during the time. I kind of want us to avoid I want us to avoid using bomb if we're above half health. So that means I want us to avoid using it to engage into a fight. It's only if we see very particular kind of like triggers do I want us to use it before a fight. But if not, I honestly don't mind us exclusively using Diva Bomb to remech, or using it when we're at like between, I mean, I guess 0 and 50% health. So anywhere in between those two numbers, if you've lost all your armor, I think it's kind of free to use Diva Mech or Diva Bomb. But if you haven't, then I think the value you're going to get from it is just not enough. I know somebody who really like preached the importance of like practicing this kind of thing, like Diva Bomb, so going into a custom map and kind of like getting used to what it's like to use your boosters and bomb on different parts of different maps and stuff like that, and doing it for like 10 minutes a day. Um, I played a lot of Diva. I'll just go to my profile actually. I played a lot of Diva. 132 hours of Diva. It's not something I necessarily ever did, and honestly, I mostly, if I were to play Diva, I would mostly use Bomb to remech at this point, because it's just, even with a single tank, it's kind of easy to avoid. I like that you tried to get in some shots there before you remeched. We hear the Tracer, but I don't think we can capitalize on her. And now, so we can play kind of in multiple positions here. So the reason why I'm talking about it now is because it's in between team fights, so it's a good time to do it. I think the best thing is still playing this window, even though it is out of our effective like melee-like range. Because they can push from multiple angles, being either this way or this way, and it's kind of likely after they lose a first push on this side, they're gonna come and push this way. So if we're like over here watching for that, we could be DMing for the soldier who should be peeking out of this window. If you're 100%, 1000% sure they're gonna go main, we can kind of play in this corner. My main goal is I want to make sure we are positioned in a place where they're going to push past us in that melee range. So if, let's say we know they're coming main, they're going to be in this, like, right there. So if we're right here, we can get shots into them as they come past. If they come through this door and we're right here, we can punish them for trying to go through this doorway. I just want to place us to where they will put themselves in our melee range, and we don't have to use a cooldown for it. I'm not a big fan of this. It's okay. I mean, this is okay because we'll just boost out, and we're getting ult charge. But that's what I'm kind of saying is like now, this is not our effective range. This is a better range for Orisa. And now it's kind of forced out our micro missiles, which I also want you to. Those are very strong up close as well. You're just so much more likely to hit them if you're in complete melee. And now we've had to use boosts as well, so we're out of cooldowns for the next 5 seconds. And now that they're pushing in, stay here. I would just stay right on this side of this cart so we can use it as some natural cover from, let's say, the Tracer or the Orisa, and we can punish this Brig who's chosen to push into us. So we can, I want us even closer, blowing out micro missiles at her and trying to headshot as much as possible. I just boost into her even. Because we can, if we're playing around this cart is our natural cover and we'll take less damage from this soldier. So even if we boost to this side and we keep shooting the Brig from on this right side, it'll still do a lot. Cart is a very, very nice source of natural cover. Let's make sure we're shooting at somebody. So this is, I don't mind this, because we're trying to shoot at the Tracer. But I would just reload here, and then we can try and shoot at people behind us. Nice. Nice. We need to back out, though. Tracer's behind us. Look at the Tracer. She's low. That's unfortunate. Yeah, because we know this Tracer is still behind us. She's low, and we know our Ana is also behind us. So it's the Tracer is going to start pushing our Ana. So in a way, if we play close to our Ana, we're also punishing the Tracer, and we can probably get this kill. I think that even right when you remech here, we should just go try and find her, because we know we've done so much damage to her. Right here. Just go. She went behind you. Yeah, just full send your boosters into her. And now we're down 3 people. So I want us to make sure we have micro missiles for our close 5-meter range. We're missing a lot of damage output because we're not gonna direct hit those. We might be landing some splash, but we're losing damage by not being at that melee range. So even here, I find we're actually kind of timid. The more in we are, the more we can use like payload for cover. I want us right here. I want us just waiting right here. We're out of LOS at the enemy right here, and we know they're gonna cross this way, and then maybe we can get over here in time for when they push over this way. I like that we're waiting for the team, but I want us to be in a slightly aggressive position that we know we can get out of. I'm not saying we boost over here. I'm just saying after we got out of spawn, we can walk over this way. Yeah, like one of those micro missiles hits. And now there's this Brig here who we can probably try and boost into punish. This would be pretty greedy, I'm not gonna lie, if we did this, but if we boosted and micro missiled her, she would take a ton of damage. I like our awareness. This is good. This is actually exactly what I'm talking about. Like, being at this range for it, right here, beautiful. I want us to try and be at this range all the time, because you don't need to have great aim if you're at this melee range, because you're just gonna hit them. If they are if they're making up a majority of your screen, you're always gonna hit. Chaser, fully send it. I want you to boost and Chaser. Tracer's a hard one, but when she's used a lot of her cooldowns like that, and a lot of her blinks like that, she's very punished. This is the exact position I wanted you to play in too, though. Beautiful. I really, really like this. I just want us to be a little bit closer, and right here, I just boost into her. So now I want us to be, either be a little bit conscious about playing to the right or the left. We want to be hesitant about showing ourselves, and then we're using all this DM. Yeah, beautiful. Like this. Just hug the right a little bit more. Get even closer to the wall. I don't mind this. I just want us even closer to this pillar. I'd stand. I would just boost to right here. I would just maybe even walk to right here, because this crushes her LOS, and our healers can still heal us at this range right here. Oh, you can save her. Oh yeah, that's a DM moment right there. When you see it, I really like that we see this Tracer. Just start DMing your Ana. So we could try. I'm not 100% about this, but I think this could be a good like concept. I want us when we need to stop taking damage to try and play around natural cover. When our teammates need to stop taking damage, that's what DM is for. So in that scenario, we definitely could have saved both of our supports. If we just full send all of our DM onto them, they'll heal each other, and then they'll be okay. But when we are using a lot of DM, like around here, probably a little bit later than this. Yeah, when we're shooting a soldier and we're using it for this, we can just go behind the wall for that. We should just stay there. Okay. So now she's at a more effective range than we are, because Orisa is really good mid to well, really she's really good at mid range, and that's not a lot of things. A lot of things can say that they're good at mid range. So when this is further than I intended. So when we're fighting this, if we can play closer, we can get more headshots onto her. And then this range is like that 10-meter range where it's going to take a lot more shots for us to get to her. And the way that armor works in this game, shotguns are have a little bit of a harder time against it. Actually, I'm pretty sure. So we just want to make sure we're just closer. Because this is all mid-range. This is where Orisa thrives. I still wouldn't be against boosting somewhere at this point, just to make it harder for her to hit us. Nice. There's a lot of people to your right. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I just go for the instant remech. I know the squish is really tempting, but the amount of value we get in mech, it's just so much higher, and we're so vulnerable in Baby Diva form that I don't think the idea of a squish is really worth it. Because if we remexed here, we could have then started DMing the soldier for this Pfizer, and he wouldn't have been able to kill as many of our teammates. And it's just that hesitation. You can just hold, yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah. You can just hold down your ult button, and as soon as you get remech back, it'll instantly do it. I kind of want to make sure we're in a safer position to remech, but at this time, at this elo, we're going to be okay. So I still actually touch on that. So in this scenario, while we're waiting for this bomb to explode, we're very vulnerable. So as we cast it, we could go just walk over this way and then remech, and then we can punish these people afterwards if they're still alive. So I would just hug this wall and then remech immediately. So Ramantra is a whole different can of worms. So I think we're gonna briefly, I'm not gonna talk about any like macro things with Ramantra, and nothing like massive or break him down very much, because I just think that it's very different. He is also a melee hero, but it's just it is very different. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Escort the field. The biggest thing I remember, I watched already, and the biggest thing is I want to make sure we pull up our crosshair just a little bit. Because we can do a lot with Ramantra, just shooting right here, even if there is nobody here. Or it's kind of similar of we could just, if we're just like shooting like this, and just the exact same thing I'm doing, just left and right, even not aiming at a person, this will do a lot as well. So he's very, Ramancha is very strong with his primary spamming down an angle, and I feel like that's not something we have a lot of practice with, especially since we play D.Va a ton. So I do think that that could be an interesting sort of thing we get more used to is like on the maps what are the quote unquote spam angles. But that would also be good at Baby D.Va, so a lot of this is very similar to when we're Pilot D.Va. I'm just backing up right here. Yeah, right click in Nemesis form is very strong.
Failure is not defeat.
So already keeps firing down those spam angles here. It's gonna take a second to hit to them, so we just need to fire it sooner. This is fine. I like this. Oh, that Life Weaver right next to you is asking to be punished. Right here. Nice, the break's behind you. Just slow field to your feet. Or you can melee her as well, yeah. And then shoot here. Yeah. So this is another angle where if we're just shooting, like right next to this thing, right up here, we're gonna be doing a lot of damage. Slow field. Oh, nice try. Yeah, we need to slow field right about here. But I think we go back to D.Va after this. Yeah. Honestly, just keep playing D.Va. You don't really need to learn other tanks. So like learning and playing Ramantra will help you learn to spam down those angles, and that can obviously translate over to Pilot D.Va, and knowing these kinds of things of like, oh, this is how the enemy tank is going to play because I have an understanding of how to play them. But the truth is, you can still get used to it. If you're like, oh, this is how an Orisa plays, I as a D.Va player know how to counter that. It's fine. You can learn how to play against your counters. You don't necessarily need to learn another hero. Nice. Brig is very easy to be punished. Boost into her and punish her. So try not to get overwhelmed when you see somebody make a very obvious mistake and they're in your melee range, and especially if they can't leave. So when I say the Brig there, I'm pretty sure we see her bash. So she no longer has an escape ability from us. So we can boost into her, do a ton of damage to her. But we just need to focus her down and tunnel vision onto her. And I know you're calming, you can calm everyone else to do that too. And it doesn't have to be, it can, honestly, in a situation like this, I would just calm her name over and over and over again. So this is Brig, 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 Brig. And even here, Brig, 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 Brig. And then still Brig. It's also for yourself, so you make sure you don't forget. That's who we're trying to get. Yeah. When we're Pilot D.Va, always just pick where most of the enemies is. We don't even have to aim at them, just spam down this lane as you're trying to back up and get behind this cover. It's unlikely we get there. It's likely we die just as fast, but this could be extra damage that our soldier can finish up on or somebody else can finish up on. Or maybe we're lucky, we do build mech. Very, very unlikely, but good habits. I would make sure we go over this right angle. Yeah, we have time. The fastest pathing here is what you did, and then from here, go up above this, and this way. Because we'll have rockets again by the time we get there. I like where DMing to go in. You're holding it a bit too long there. So, I want us DMing in like you just did. I don't want us to use the whole thing if we don't have to. Picking a target, boosting, missiling, and then DMing out again. Just repeating doing that over and over again. And try and not use those other abilities unless you have a target in mind. We know the Tracer's still back there. We hear her off to our right a little bit. We saw the Mercy line. I want us looking at this Mercy. I don't mind this because now we're with both our supports. Yeah, we lose track of a lot of times, so I don't mind the missiles if they were directly at the Tracer, but the problem is she's just so high mobility, micro missiles is going to be hard to hit. I'm just finding this Mercy and punishing her. This is fine, though. We now Tracer has no recall. Nice. I don't mind this because we could lose this fight still. And now, yep. So we can play a little bit greedier. I'd consider even pushing all the way up to this wall. But it depends on how much this Life Weaver tries to hurt us. I'd stay up here for sure, though. Be careful of peeking. We can just hide. Like a camouflaged predator. Tiger in waiting. This is good. We see this Life Weaver. So Life Weaver's mobility is actually not as strong as you think it is. He has one dash, and he's going to use it pretty quickly. So when we see that Life Weaver there, just full push onto him. I don't mind that this Tracer is harassing our backline as much as we can go and harass their backline, and there's less they can do about it. And then specifically when I was talking about the Life Weaver being right there, off to the right. I don't mind this, I just want to make sure our team's also looking at this Tracer with us. It's going to be hard for us to get into our effective melee range. Boost in. We have beat, just go in. Mercy, nice. Still focus the Mercy here. I like that we're playing around payload. I'd hug it even closer if we can. I love that we're playing around payload here.
Hello? The payload's not moving.
This is good. Oh, we're engaging with our team a bit. Yeah, our teammates are slower than we are.
Hello? The payload's not
So we want to make sure that we have an opportunity for them to get closer. So when I say I like this, I want us to just hug this left wall and maybe DM while we wait for our teammate to come and get some follow-up damage. It's going to be harder for them to heal us and harder for them to follow up. Now everyone's here. Great eat. I want us in melee range, so push in. Good, good. So with this, I love that we DM, but I want us to DM and boost into him because it's gonna mess up his visor, because then suddenly he can only target you. If you're the only thing on his screen, he can only target you, and you're the worst target for him. So I want us boosting in here and punishing him, and we're gonna get missiles back soon. Remember on Kitsune, we get our cooldowns back even sooner, so we always spam our cooldowns on Kitsune. So shift in, put all of our rockets into him, and then we'll punish this visor, and he shouldn't get any kills with it. But just don't be afraid to boost into a person. I feel like we're missing a lot of that in this VOD. And shift into the Diva here, or the Orisa. I would shift onto the Life Weaver.
nothing gets past me.
We could take this time to push up a little bit. It's less good on this part, but we could be like right here. And then maybe that would stop this break from being in this position. Oops. Nice. Boost into her, yeah. So I want us trying to boost either all the way into the Life Weaver or just walking to this corner and then being able to boost into somebody who we see make a bigger mistake. We could probably get a pretty decent bomb here. I'm still not the biggest fan of it. I still think that if we full send on the Life Weaver and then if we take too much damage, we can ult. So we can kind of use ult as like a, oh, I really messed up card. A little bit too much DM. It's honestly, it's a little bit better for us to do a little bit too little than it is for us to be a little bit too much with defense matrix. Because your health is also a resource. So our defense matrix has a resource and our health is a resource. So if we're using all of our defense matrix when our health is full, we can kind of, I want us to take that time to like balance out those resources. So if we're taking a lot of damage, then we can DM to try and fill our health resource. And then when our DM is low, we can use our health resource because now that's full to start filling our DM, if that makes sense. Because we can just take damage while time occurs. And that's also true. It's like we can use this defense matrix as I am no longer going to take damage. So it's kind of like a trade-off of resource management. That's more of a feel thing. It's gonna take a while for that to like really take effect, but that's when it's the real implementation of that is use less. If we just use less, it'll start to come more naturally because it'll be up even more often. Life Weaver first. Beautiful. We hear they have a Pharah now. I would just... Where is this Pharah? We see that she's been pinged. We can just full send into her, I think. We don't have our ult, though, is the biggest problem. Yeah, just fully boosting her. Yeah, nice. We'll go back and watch that because I hit B instead of N. Nice. Nice. Wonderful. We see the Brig. Nice, she's dead. Go back to Diva. Good. Yeah, really hesitant about using missiles unless you're in that melee range. I want 5 meters or less. I don't even want 10 meters. Boost onto the... Yeah. I actually, especially in this spot, I do find we're very, very rarely boosting into a person. We're using a lot for our positioning, but I want it onto a specific target. So we know they have a Mei, we know they have a soldier. When we see a Zarya, be hesitant about using your missiles right away because that's a lot of free charge for her if you do. You want to make it almost a mind game. We can't block a lot of this. This is like actually one of the worst comps we can go play against. I like the hesitation here. But now that they've used Ice Block, I want us boosting onto a person. Probably Mei. If you want an Ice Block, they'll have wall again soon. Nice, she died. We can boost onto the Life Weaver top left. We can see his healing. Yeah, just go send it onto him. He's been pinged as well. And now he's pulled the tank. The Life Weaver is still behind us. Yep. It was hard for us to see that he got out. In a position like this, where somebody is ahead of us, I would just DM until we're ahead of them. Just on the off chance they're gonna get one shot somehow. Now I want us sending onto the soldier. It's not our job to standpoint here. I would just go up there just so we can build some ult charge, and then we can fall back down. Nice. I like this. I like this focus. Just keep shooting her. Oh, your team stepped off. That wasn't really your job. So this is a much more aggressive position. Ooh, this is gonna be scary. So the reason why I say this is gonna be scary versus this position that I initially stated at the beginning, because one, they can come out from either angle, and there's not a lot of natural cover for us to fall back to. So it's like we're immediately gonna have to 180 a lot in order to get a lot of good damage here, and then our fallback, our boosters can probably get us to about right here, and this is still a lot of open range for them to shoot at us as we try to fall back to necessarily this corner. Or I guess you could say we could just fall back to here and this could be okay, but they'll have a lot of momentum pushing into us, and we won't have our boosters to try and get out of it. So that is a scary position. I just keep DMing because Bastion on Wheels is just, that is one of the full times I'm like, just full send all of your DM. This is fine, this is a nice try. I would just stick with the Lucio, just in terms of pathing to get back. I don't think his path was the best, but the speed boost is... One good thing about Lucio in this kind of, this rank is, he makes your team play more together. He just really does. So that's why I like, oh, okay, we can make sure if we're with the Lucio, the rest of the team probably will be too. The Bastion is the scariest target. I'd send it into him here. Just booster into him. Eating fire strikes is always good. Just one tap, eat the fire strike, and then move on. It won't use much of your DM. And it denies all charge from the Reinhardt. I like this because we're helping our Ana. Yep, okay, you know. I was gonna say we can go up above this.
Our numbers are low. Careful.
No, nice try. So, yeah, I think the two things we can do to immediately improve is make sure we're boosting onto a target, especially if we've seen them use movement abilities, and then using all of our cooldowns on that. So, boost, micro missiles, and then just headshotting the best we can, and then if we're in 2 day, we can DM ourselves out, but that's normally after they've died. And then the other thing I was talking about is just like I want us constantly in, like I really want you to think that we are a melee hero, because we are. We're super melee based. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. I hope that was helpful, and bye.